Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Life in HD, where we invite special guests to come in and chat with us about human design in real life. And if you're new to this channel, I'm your host, Crystal Alferrero. I'm a human design guide and founder of the Human Design Academy. And today we're going to be exploring life as a very strong-willed, emotional manifesting generator with my very special guest. I'm excited for all of you to meet. His name is Alex Pavon, who's a 2/4 emotional manifesting generator and multi-passionate, multi-skilled success strategist. So welcome, Alex. Thank you so much for being here. And did I butcher your last name or did I pass?
No, actually, it was amazing. It was like exceeding expectations, Crystal. Thank you
There we
very
go.
much.
Yay. Awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, I met Alex in my IHDS foundational training, and how long ago was that? I feel like feels like it's been a while, but
That's like 2 years ago, but now,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And now we're going through professional analyst training together. And yeah, that's been an exciting ride. But for those who are watching, so I, know a bit about you. And honestly, I feel like I've known you even outside of our study space. But could you please share with my audience, who are you and what do you do?
Sure. First of all, Thank you very much for inviting me to your space to share some experiences and some opinions about life experiences about human design. And I'm very excited about it. So,
Yay.
first of all, I'm Alex Pavon. You pronounce it perfectly. I'm a millennial born and raised in Mexico, mostly in Mexico City. However, I lived in three different countries in three different continents. I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community. I'm happily married, and I have two furry kids.
Oh.
So I'm part of a three half sibling family. And currently, as you mentioned, I'm a success strategist. But as a man gen, I'm passionate of evolution, so always under construction, as you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No pressure there. It's funny because I was asking Alex, I'm like, what do you go by these days? And actually it's funny because every single manifesting generator I ask, I'm like, what title do you go by? It's a very big struggle to try to define that. And that's okay, right? And so,
Exactly.
right. And I know you've been into your human design journey for quite a while. So what brought you to human design? How has it changed your life since you've discovered it or since it's discovered you?
Yeah, actually, it's very interesting because in 2020, my mom died after diagnosed for the second time with cancer. So at the time, I have been always passionate about like self-knowledge, self-discovery, and so, but I wasn't that back in time in therapy. So I went back in therapy to deal with the grief and so on. And then 1 year later, when my mom was her first anniversary that she has been not been in this plane, um, I was taking a course on coaching, dealing with emotions, with a very different approach. Like emotions have a message, and if you listen to them, you can leverage on what they have to tell you and the energy that they have. They have this binary concept that they have like a message to tell and also an energy to take action. So if you learn to deal with them, then even the uncomfortable ones, not labeled as negative. It's comfortable and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
The uncomfortable ones could serve you as with a purpose. So, like 3 weeks after, one of my former trainers from indoor cycling, I was a coach in before the pandemic in indoor cycling, manifesting generator, of course. Um, was promoting her readings in social media in Instagram. So I clicked at it, human design. It sounded interesting for me. And it was like, oh, I don't know what it is, but can you tell me a little bit? I don't remember what she told me, but I was like, okay, can you schedule my session? Then we scheduled, and I was totally amazed by the information and the details she gave me. And it helped me a lot to look at myself from a different perspective and to see that some of the things that I thought that I was wrong actually were part of my superpowers. So it was very interesting to look at it. And the complexity of it, I was very amazed by it.
Yeah. And I mean, was there something new that you learned about yourself in that first reading that you had?
Yeah, of course. That actually, it was very interesting in terms of timing. My design has a very logic into the future kind of thing. This format of the
Yeah.
ninth, the gate of focus, which is part of my Incarnation Cross. So it happens to me that I do something that it's forward in time. So it serves me in the future. So this coaching course about emotions was like the something that I was like prior my introduction to human design. So learning that I'm an emotional being, that my decision-making process is actually relying on emotions, it was like, wow, this is what I've been looking for. Because when I back in time when I was in corporate, people told me like, you're so emotional. And it's like emotional has like very stereotypical things like you cry a lot or you laugh a lot or very intense. I do, I'm very intense. I cry, but I don't cry a lot. I don't laugh a lot, but I'm intense. I know. And I feel I'm very sensitive and I feel emotions very deeply. So when she told me like you're an emotional being and having emotional clarity to make decisions is what will get you in places, people,
Yeah.
and situations that are designed for you to live. It was like a relief, you know? And also learning to differentiate between like making a decision with impulse or from intuition, which is very different, or from gut,
Yeah.
which is very different than emotions, which the key is time. Like
Yeah.
my truth comes over time. Learning to integrate that in my life, I'm still learning for sure. I'm still learning for
Yeah.
sure. So
And
the emotional piece was one of the things that I was like, wow. And also the complexity and the awesomeness of the energy dynamics, you
yeah.
know, what we call in human design the mechanics,
Yeah.
because it's very logic. I mean, it has this mystical piece, which I love as well. However, it's very logical. Everything's connected and it's like, oh, everything makes sense for me. So it was like, I'm in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's so true. And actually, it's funny because you mentioned that you have the 9. I have the 52. So we're both very,
Oh,
very logical. And it's, yeah, human design is, yeah, as much as it has its esoteric side, like you said, it's very logical in the insights that it gives and in the way that everything has been synthesized. But actually, going back to your emotional authority, I know we were talking earlier. You mentioned you're not someone that was very like impulsive, but at the time, were you someone that didn't wait for clarity before making decisions, or would you make like, emotional decisions in the moment type of thing before you knew
yeah,
about human
very
design?
much. Yeah, very much because I have an open root and an open head. So part of my struggle is to learn to wait. I have the fifth gate, so it's the gate of waiting. I'm a generator,
Yeah.
manifesting generator, but generator still. So wait to respond. And then emotional authority. So wait for clarity. So wait is a thematic in my mind. And when, for example, in interviews or so, they were asking me like, I don't know, back in time when I didn't know my design, which one is one of your like, I don't know, yeah, of your struggles or of your, I don't know how they call it. It's disadvantages or I don't know how.
Challenges? No.
Challenges, yes. And for me, it was like, for sure, it's patience. It's like sometimes it serves you with a purpose. However, with an open route, oh my God, learning to wait, not thinking that I have to rush decisions and I have to even pressure others with my very strong heart center,
Yeah.
like to commit to deliver their promises and so on. It's something that I'm still learning, but it has helped me a lot. So actually, yeah, this is mostly one of the things that made me feel that I don't have I didn't came in this life in order to rush anything, to run for everything, because my aura is enveloping and magnetic, so I only have to wait. However, I'm a generator, I'm a manifesting generator. So waiting as a couch potato, it's not for me, because actually my variable, I have an active body. I have an active body. So moving, for example, I'm talking to you and I'm using this one to, I don't know, to move. Or for example, when I'm learning to write on a notebook, even when I don't see the notes back again, but actively wait, like doing what I love as a generator, keep sharing as a sharing being, because the channel that connects to my throat, in which I potentially manifest, it's a sharing channel. So sharing stories, sharing experience, sharing talent, sharing skills, sharing energy, even when we're not talking, when we're not speaking. For example, when you go to the cinema, or you work together in a trip or something, it's that you're not sharing speaking, but you're sharing the energy. So that's something that it has helped me a lot.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned, the sharing, because, or not even just sharing, but the fact that waiting is not like being a couch potato, right? I think that's a huge misconception that people automatically associate waiting with. But there's so much, I mean, not that you have to, but depending on you, depending on what's correct for you, it's like you can do other things while you're waiting, keep yourself occupied. You can share things from your heart. You can share your stories, your if you're a projector, your gifts, your talents in that sense, but like doing other things that bring you joy, responding to other things that bring you satisfaction in the meantime. And then you realize it's like there really isn't any, quote unquote waiting. It's just waiting to listen to what your body's actually responding to. Right. But were you someone that was always connected to that response? What was it like growing up as, in your childhood as a young manifesting generator?
Actually, has been divided like in stages, because when I was born and until the age of 5 or so, I was very active, but not active as in sporty, because I don't know. I find the whys now, but back then I don't have any sports channels. So of course, sports was not my thing. But for example, jumping in the bed, oh my God, that was my favorite thing to do when I was little, until I reached the ceiling, of course. This is not safe. And actually,
I feel like you're really
that
tall, aren't you?
no, I'm not actually. I'm like, I will say in centimeters, but 1 meter and 75
That's
centimeters.
pretty tall. I'd say that's
Average.
yeah.
That's average. For Mexico, it's average tall, like above
Yeah.
average, above average.
Yeah.
But for when in Europe or in the
But
US, no.
Northern Europe, you mean? That's where all
Yeah, I'm
the
short.
really tall ones are.
Yeah, for Spain, probably
Yeah.
I'm average.
Mhm.
I'm the same. So um, but then I was very like, I did enjoy a lot school. I was very into the system of school, like studying and paying attention and doing exercise. Of course, the channel of talent is repetition, and my gate 5 as well. And I'm very logical, so the patterns. So going to school, having a routine, so it helped me a lot. And I was a child that was not struggling with school. Actually, I was like a very good student, and my purpose is fulfilled through mine. So it perfectly matches with what I see my life backwards and what I see my life right now. And of course, if it's not fulfilled for form, of course, I'm not very like physical in terms of like um the sports. And so even when
Yeah.
I was an indoor cycling coach, because we're not only our design, it's everything's changing according to our cycles. So my Saturn cycle brought me temporary definition, let's call it that way,
Yeah.
on at sports channel, and then I became an indoor cycling coach
Oh, wow.
for becoming a couch potato, because I was this guy that was like, no, I'm not into sports, I don't like them, I don't like pain, like physical pain, of course emotional
Yeah.
and sensitive. So it's like I put me a label that I was not sporty, for example. And I will never do sports because I don't enjoy doing sports. It's just because of health. I do them just because of health. And the least that I can do, it's better. But now I really enjoy them because I found sports that really, I don't know. I read that the sport pick you. You don't pick the sport.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
So exactly. So finding indoor cycling, like it was as a hermit, a cave environment. It was like everything dark. I'm on myself. However, I'm surrounded by people, my unconscious fourth line. So it was not a hermit, but a hermit within a tribe. So it was perfect.
Good balance.
So, yeah. Exactly. So back to your question as a child, it was not struggling to be a manifesting generator because generators are 70% of the population. So I fit into the majority. Yeah. And my parents are both generators and my siblings are both generators, mostly manifesting generators all the way. However, this rush thing, like I'm tribal. So my boss is part tribal, and tribal is timeless. So I'm not always punctual. I'm not always worried about time. With an open route and an open hand, it's like, no, I don't have to worry. I don't have to hurry. So it's like inconsistent, you know? So probably the time thing, the punctuality thing, I remember that I was always late at school. Sometimes they didn't let me in because I got late. No. Yeah. Even when my mom was taking me to school, right? Oh. So, and right now I'm learning to be punctual because I know the purpose of punctuality, and sometimes it's worth it, and sometimes it's worth it, and sometimes it's not. I also leverage on the other part of my cross that it's logical. So it's like, hey, you have to be punctual, and it's not you have to be. It's worth it. So for sure, I'm learning, and I'm still gaining the wisdom of having an open route and an open head and ashna, and learning when to worry, when it worths to worry. When you will lose the flight, of course, run. When there's a timeline or something or a due date, of course it's important. So for example, in terms of waiting, when you're not clear in terms of a decision as an emotional manifesting generator or as an emotional being, it's important if we are not clear to communicate to others that we're not clear yet. Yeah. Or if we are, or ask others back when it's the due date. When do I have to come back to you to tell you the response, to tell you my response, to buy some time to get clarity, but still don't rush the decision until you're clear. And then also consider that you're not the only being in the world. So it impacts others even when you're not a manifester. You impact others in terms of if you're not clear and you don't communicate your decision. So
of course, yeah. And I mean, when you are responding to something that is important, right? Like something that is, I don't know, either fun for you or satisfies you or, you know, has that real urgency, like what does that response for you feel like?
It feels like an energy building up, you know? My tone of voice changes. For example, right now I'm very excited. So you can notice I'm very transparent. Yeah. So you can read my body language and my voice and so on, and my eyes are open, mouth are it's very wide. So it's like it's an energy building up when I'm feeling a response. For example, you're asking me something that I'm willing to respond. So I'm actually moving towards like you, even when we're not in person, I'm moving towards your video. So, and your voice. So, and I'm very, I don't know, acoustic. So it feels like a build up in energy, but then you have to be very aware because that feels that you need to respond in the moment. And as me, if you are an emotional being with an emotional authority, it's like, okay, this is good. This is a response, but wait until the wave is more clear for you. Like you're in an up, you're in a peak. So let's wait for the valley, and that takes time. So learning that for me was a life changer. So
Oh, yeah.
it's this energy, like, I don't know, it's not a tickle, it's not a buzz, it's just energy, like wanting to move. Even when it's not wanting to go run a marathon, it's just like, yeah, energy.
Yeah. Just like that movement, that expansion. I think that's a good word for it.
Exactly.
Expansion, right?
Yeah, that fits,
Yeah.
that fits perfectly.
Yeah. And you mentioned that like waiting, patience is like an overriding theme and lesson for you. So what are some of the things that have helped you become more patient? Or, you know, what are the things that maybe you're doing right now to cultivate more patience in your life?
Okay. This question is very interesting for me because
If
right
at
now,
all. Right?
because right now I'm still changing in terms of, I'm still evolving in terms of, for example, my career and work. Because
Mhm.
I have studied an engineering major, and then I joined the finance team in a multinational company. And then I was working in business, like in big companies, for 13 years almost.
Mhm.
And then I resigned last year. I quit my job to become a full-time student back again. I did a couple of coaching certifications, and also dedicate myself to human design studies, like
Mhm.
dedicate a lot of time and not having like more distractions. Because even when I can do multiple things at a time,
Mhm.
mostly when I have like things that consume my energy a lot, it's better to pick one or two, not
Yeah.
five, because I
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
even when my sacral is defined, I also get overwhelmed. So in terms of the patients, for example, it is very, very, very important to know that, to trust, not to know, to trust
Mhm.
that my aura is designed to draw things and people and opportunities to me. So for example, when I quit my job and I was becoming like I was building my business, my
Mhm.
coaching business, Sublime Soul Studio, or Sublime Success Studio. I'm evolving the name. So it's like you have to wait. However, if you wait and you do nothing, then no client comes to you. Nobody knows what you do. Nobody's coming.
Yeah.
And more with, if you have a virtual business, if you have to have a digital business, you have to be visible. Even when not in aura, at least
Mhm.
in pictures, use the other senses. It's like in pictures, in social media, through videos, hearings, even WhatsApp or
Yeah.
friends or so. You have to be visible. You have to share the knowledge that you learn and the experiences because my experiences are unique. Rather than there could be another person, another Mexican that studied engineering, that it's into human design, that it's a coach, that blah blah blah, that work in a multinational companies. But
Mhm.
our perspective is very different because we occupy different spaces in the world and we have different experiences in life. So to stay connected as a line four, and so it has helped me a lot in order to let the waiting not be painful. Let the
Yeah.
waiting to be enjoyable as well. It's like
Exactly.
trust that everything will come to me, and learning to look at the past, even when I'm not very abstract, but looking at the past and see the pattern, use my logical thing that everything's drawn to me. So learn to trust that because I have facts to prove that in my life. It's like, okay, this will come if I do what I love in the meantime. It's like
Yes.
just live in the moment and do what I love and not worry about the future, not worry. Of course, I'm worried about, like, I don't know, probably if my business will grow, if I will get back to corporate. Of course, my future, it's something that it's a concern, not much a worry. It's something that it matters to me, but it's not. I'm not focused there. I'm not mostly
Mhm.
focused on what I'm responding to.
Yeah.
And actually, it's very interesting because as a 2/4 manifesting generator, it's not necessarily always wait for response. It's wait for the call to respond.
Yeah.
So this is very, very interesting because I'm this guy that loves to text, loves to everything, loves to talk by phone and so. But if you call me, I will never pick up the phone. I will never get the
I'm the
call.
same. Yeah.
I will never get the call. I don't know. I don't like spontaneously like, oh, getting into a call like for an hour or so. I don't know. Probably I'm not spontaneous and I'm more emotional. So it's very interesting that waiting for the call about like 2 months ago before I went on holidays, I received a call from a headhunter asking me if I want to join like a process of interviews to join a corporate job. It was more like between like a scale up rather than corporate. Yeah. It's not like a huge company. It's more like a company that it's growing. And right now I have not been, I'm still in the process. However, learning to wait, it's very important. But the availability piece, which is all about the topic of the SQL Center, available or not. It's like, if I were not available, if I was not available to get the call, I would never get the opportunity to know that probably I want to do this hybrid model in which I call it a soulpreneur. It's part you work for someone else, but you also have your thing. So I'm kind of interested into getting into this journey of having a hybrid career. And if I would get, I wouldn't be willing to take that call even when it was like an unknown number. I would never know. So being open, it's very important.
Oh yeah. And so much of what you're saying sits with me, and like I resonate with so much of it being a projector as well, like needing to wait and just doing the things that you enjoy in the meantime. That for me personally has been what makes the waiting not feel like waiting at all. Right. So
Exactly.
I love that you brought that up. And also
it's
the
waiting, right?
Yeah, exactly. And also the part about you mentioned like if it's not being a couch potato, like obviously if you're a business owner, like you need to be visible. And so same thing with projectors. It's like we need to be seen. Like we can, being a projector is not about being a couch potato. Like you still need to, share your gifts and get, be in a place where you're going to be recognized for those gifts, for those talents too.
How
So
can you be top of mind of someone else?
exactly. Exactly. So I know I love that you brought that up. And like there's so many parallels, even though we're so different in design. I'm like non-emotional splenic projector, you're an emotional manifesting generator, but yeah, like lots of different parallels there too.
But also, for example, if you look at my conscious design,
Yeah.
it's like I think it's a splenic projector.
Oh yeah.
So then actually this is very important in back in your one of the questions that you asked me before, because when I get to human design, I discovered that I was a generator, that I was acting as a projector. I was trying to guide. I was trying to like get the invitation to be recognized. I was craving for recognition always. And it's not that I don't like recognition. I do like recognition because four of my five channels are projected. One of them is only generated. So of course I have a projecting energy inside of me. And and it's consistent in me. However, my aura doesn't operate that way. Doesn't operate as like getting an invitation. It's wait for response. Even when it looks like an invitation, it could be an invitation to join a process or to join a company or whatever. However, it's very different, like invitation than for the call and wait for the response.
Exactly. Especially being a 2-4. It's like it can be similar like an invitation, but just waiting for the right call to respond to, like you were saying, right? And yeah, so I mean, going back to your Incarnation Cross, this is something I wanted to explore a little bit actually. But you're on the cross of planning. This is somewhat, I mean, it's funny because like I had a comment once on one of the videos I did on Incarnation Cross, and this person was like, oh, I have the Incarnation Cross of planning. I hate it. And like this and that, because for them, it sounded like it wasn't, I mean, they're like, what do I do with this? And so I gave them the example, like my first business coach, actually, she's very successful. And, she also has this Incarnation Cross, right? Community is a huge part of that. And, helping her community plan and find their success and satisfaction in life. Like that's a huge part of her role, right? So how have you seen your cross kind of unravel so far in your life?
Actually, when I read the definite book, it's like what I focus the most, I'm always bargaining my skills. And it's like it sounds funny, right? Because as a bargainer, I don't know, as a person that bargains, it's like I see more a person like in a market bargaining the price of the thing that they are selling. But of course, this cross is part of the background frequency that we have. So everything that we see is a bargain. Everything that we got physically, has been a bargain. You paid a price and you get the stuff. Or for example, you invited me to participate to this amazing podcast, and then you're getting my experiences back. So it's a bargain, even when it's not money and money exchange, but it's an energy exchange. So a bargain is, rather than money, it's an energy exchange, and I really love to like exchange and share. I love to be part of communities, like even when I'm a manifesting generator with a cross of planning, sometimes I'm changing communities and I'm building new ones. For example, I don't have any friend that I had when I was little. So that could, in some sort of way, see how a manifesting generator could show up in a cross of planning. I don't have like an everlasting community. I'm always changing. It's not that I had a problem with them or something, but I changed, and then we flow, and then but apart seeking a whole, it's very, very consistent to me. Like I'm always looking to be part of a whole. When I resigned back into 2022 in March, one of my key concerns was I will miss the community type of feeling. I will miss the community. And now I find myself that I joined the community, coaches community, and the human design community. So it's like very interesting that I carry it with me. It's not that I don't have to be worried about apart seeking a whole, because I'm always apart seeking a whole, and I'm always apart finding a whole,
Yeah.
And it's like, I love also the bargain stuff. I love fair bargains. I don't like these bargains that I'm abusing someone else or someone else abusing someone else. I'm always looking for fair bargains. It is very interesting for me. For example, some women that look for me for coaching services or for some coaching alliances, they're looking to negotiate their salaries at their job, or they're looking to negotiate their job offers when they're joining a company, or they're looking to negotiate or bargain a new role, new responsibility. So this bargain is part of me. People see me as a
bargaining expert.
So
we found a title for Alex.
And it's more like I'm always looking for fairness and also for loyalty, It's rather than, I don't know, like being always with you. It's like, no, we could be apart, but we'll still be loyal, So loyalty is a huge topic in this cross. And probably that's the thing that I see the most in the cross of planning.
Yeah. And what about, like, I know you're someone that's very multi-passionate, and of course you have the design of talent and all that, but has it been difficult for you to discern what to focus on, what skills to focus on, or is that just something that you've discovered over time? How do you navigate that?
Yeah, sometimes, for example, I have an example of the pandemic. At the beginning of the pandemic, for me, from a place of privilege. Of course, I had a stable job, I had home, I had a partner, I have my dog. Back then, now I have two. So my mom was ill. However, everything was as expected. Okay. So from a place of privilege, I would say that I was like, this is an opportunity to try some stuff that I didn't have the time to. So I joined a lot of activities. I joined like a singing practice, and because of course I have a strong voice, so I have to practice my voice. And so
I'll need to hear that one day.
and I was giving some indoor cycling digital classes, and I was like having like a well-being kind of space in the studio that I was working, giving some capsules of well-being online. And I was like, I cannot remember. I was in an intuitive eating course, and so I was
Lots
doing
of stuff.
everything. Okay? Of course, open head, losing focus. Not knowing what to pick, not knowing what to focus on. And back then, I didn't know that my response comes over time. My clarity comes over time. So the response comes in the moment, but my clarity comes over time. So it's like I picked everything, and then I felt super burned out. I was like, I cannot handle this anymore. It lasted about 3 weeks or a month, and I had to, for example, take down the singing course and take down some of the stuff. And most of the things that I was joining back then, and also force training, back then, I'm not doing it anymore. It was like, it was not sustainable for me. So in order for something to be sustainable, I need to wait for clarity. I need to wait for the clarity. Because otherwise, I don't get anything about that stuff. And I don't develop the skill. I just test the thing and get out as a line 3, you know?
Yeah.
Rather than be natural at it and then develop the skill, blah, 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 with repetition and so on. It's not like that. It's like, no, I want to quit. I become a quitter. It's not that bad, but I lose focus for sure. So I'm still learning on what to say yes to, rather than say yes to everything. Because I will never feel the response, or I will never be asked again. You know, that fear that you will never be asked again. So
yeah, we have to like kind of tell that voice to shut up, because whatever's meant for you. I feel like I'm a firm believer that whatever's meant for you is gonna come back. Like there's no one-time opportunities. Like if something's really meant for you, it'll come back, whether it's in the same form or a different form. But yeah. And actually one more question I had around your design is, looking at your defined heart, I have come across very little people with such definition in your heart center, in your ego center. You have the 4426, the 4037, and the 5125 all defined. And you have the active 21. So like I have a completely open heart. I don't have any harmonics coming out of my open heart either. So whenever I look at my daily transits, it's always like white. So what does having such a defined heart feel like? Like, what is that like for you? I'm really curious.
sure. And it's very interesting, this like exchange of energy and of questions, because we're learning from each other. We're being teachers and students at the same time. So having like I'm also learning about how is it to have an open heart. So, and it sounds beautiful, an open heart. So recently I discovered, like, this question has been done to me, like, I don't know, 6 months ago. And they asked me like, are you very competitive? And I said, no, of course not. But because being competitive, sometimes it's like bad label, has bad marketing. But when I was thinking about, am I competitive? Yes, I am. Of course I am competitive. And it's something that I'm designed to. Otherwise, I will be denying my design, denying my truth. So of course I'm competitive. However, I'm not competitive in a way that I want to fight with you. I don't have the gate of the fight. Actually, it's one of my harmonic harmonic. So it's like, no, I'm not a fighter. I'm not a provoker. I'm not here to like compete with you. However, I'm here to ally with you to make our team more competitive.
Yeah.
If we see it like in a human design standpoint, actually have this strength that I carry competition with me, so I carry competitiveness energy for whatever I go. So, for example, when I was a little kid, since my purpose is fulfilled for mine, I didn't know back then, but I really enjoyed like spelling bees or
Oh, I love that.
athletics or stuff. Yeah, I was like
Yeah.
kind of a nerd, but not like a stereotypical nerd, because I was very social. So it was like but I enjoyed a lot competitions. So and I still, for example, when I was an indoor cycling coach, I was also competitive in terms of like I wanted to become the like in the first row and be able to thrive in the class and to do everything that the coach is asking for. And so of course I'm very competitive. And also, for example, in terms of the bargains I've talked about, of course, like the deliverance to I'm very, very strict with my promises. I will not promise you something that I will not keep. If someone's asking for me, someone that I'm not clear that I can deliver, I will not make that promise. And sometimes when I make promises that I'm not satisfied to keep but to keep with, sometimes I do them even when they're not satisfying to me, because it's very important to keep my word, So other people think of me as someone that is reliable, exactly. That's the word.
Oh, for
And
sure.
also like the selling thing, like the persuasive,
Yeah.
the gate of the egoist, for example. If you asked me a year ago that if I'm egoist, I would say my design says so, but I'm not. But that was also neglecting my nature, because I am. Sometimes I'm looking for myself in order for me to be well, to be good, to be okay. And then my tribe and my network can be well as well, and should like focus on something else than worrying about me. So as far as it's fair, I'm also looking for myself, like for my well-being. It's pointing out to the spelling center. So of course it's looking for your health and well-being and the way you survive and the way you thrive, if you see it like in a more evolved way. So discovering that I have the design of a salesman, it was like a sales strength. It was like,
Yeah.
no, because when I was in corporate, actually, I was interested into joining. I was mostly in the finance and strategy, but then I was interested into joining the sales team. Okay, and becoming a sales manager. So I became a sales manager, and then I didn't enjoy a lot because the PR thing, like the public relationship, even when I'm in a networking with strangers, and then when many people, it was like, no, I don't want to travel across the country 80% of my time just getting to know people that probably doesn't care about me. So I don't find the value. So the value, it's very important for me to join something that I see the value, or to, for example, pay for something, even when it's expensive or it's not expensive, but pricey. I can pay for it if I have the money, if I see the worth of it. I see the quality, if I'm getting something in return that I see the value in paying that price, and not paying the price in terms of money only, but in terms of time and energy investment. So when I joined this sales team, I decided to get back to the strategic team, not being a salesman anymore. But now that I have a coaching business, I have to sell. So I don't really enjoy a lot the marketing piece, like me out there making stories and so on. But when you put me in a room, even when it's virtual, with a person, in order to understand their needs, how I can sell the value of coaching and assess if it's the right timing for them in order to join to the program or to join to a coaching alliance or so. And very natural. I'm very natural,
There you
you
go.
know. And exactly, and and mostly when I get to know the people deeply, like even when we're not close friends, but when we follow each other through social media, or when it's a friend of a friend or something, it comes very, very, very natural, like the sales piece. And because of that, different options in terms of my design, even when it can be very persuasive, I will never, 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 so far, I would say never. I would never say never, but so far I have not done sale that it's forcing the person to buy, you know? I was looking for fairness because I don't want to have this client that it's not committed, or they say that they are not getting what they pay for. So because it was not the right timing, or it's not fulfilling their need. So the need, the timing, and the value, it's very important for me, like to do this like closure of energy of like the alliance.
Selling.
Exactly. The
Oh,
selling
for
stuff.
sure. And I've had a lot of clients basically say the same thing as you. It's like they didn't identify with or like associate themselves as being a good salesperson. But if they talk about something that they're passionate about, something that they see has value, something, and also like, especially in your case, if you have a line 4, if you can just get down to their level and, create that bond with them and understand their needs, it makes it so much easier. I feel like there's like this element of you needing to be in an integrity with how you sell and what you sell in order for it to feel good, and like in order for that to feel satisfying for you specifically, right?
Exactly. And
Otherwise it
also
just feels like, oh,
exactly. And also to be sustainable. And if my business, mostly since I'm a 2-4, is growing through word of mouth, if they're not satisfied, how would I get recommended and advocates of my business, you know? So it's like, it's important for me that I exceed their expectations even. So sometimes I'm very hard to myself on their experience, like I want them to enjoy it and to get the most out of it. And when I can only control Gate 21, half of it, you know, what I deliver and my time, and to be punctual, for example, that's important for me to be punctual in my coaching sessions. So it's like, and to deliver what I promise. So, but I can only control half of it. So I'm still learning the control part of it, because it's an easy way out to manifest, you know, to get to know like, oh, I have to control this, and I have to become the king, and I have to manage. No, I'm, for example, the role in corporate that I enjoy the most, it was a chief of staff, which is second in charge. It's not the first in charge. Actually, I didn't have any people in my team. So the second in charge is also something that I enjoy, you know?
Oh, for sure. And I mean, like having the channel of community, it's like you just kind of want to be a part of it. Doesn't matter what kind of role or whatever it is. I just want to be with the people, right? And one thing that I see, and let me know if this is something that you resonate with, but having such a defined heart obviously doesn't mean that someone with like an open heart like me doesn't. But do you find that you have very high expectations for yourself that can sometimes become, create resistance, create that frustration if you're trying really hard to fulfill all of these expectations you have?
I'm a very goal-oriented person. So for sure, sometimes it's like, disappointment, even when I'm not a reflector. But when I'm not meeting the expectation, it's like what I've done wrong. So there's something wrong with me. So I need to change. But with time, for example, since a little child, in the cross of planning, of course, I fit a lot, you know? In the sleeping Phoenix, I don't know. I have half, so I don't know, but it's not part of my cross. So, of course, I fit a lot. So I feel natural in the cross of planning. Since I was a little kid, I fit into school, then I fit into the corporate world. Then I'm kind of finding my feet in the coaching business because I'm not married to a niche. I'm multi-passionate, so
Yeah.
I have a lot of things to that I want to share with my potential clients and so on, with people and with my network. So sometimes when I'm trying to put me on like a very fixed box, like I have to do this and this is the goal and it's specific and it's like a number or something that it's fixed, it's more easily to get frustrated if I'm not.
Yeah.
Because I'm losing the experience, of what I'm gaining in the way, the skills, the repetition, the mastery, or even learning through mistakes. Even when I'm not on line 3, I have line 3 signs. So, and I'm a human, so a human
Of course.
with trial and error. So even when that's very important, even when you are not like a line 3, it's not that you don't have line 3 traits in your design. Even when you are not a projector, if you have a projected channel, sometimes the recognition and limitation is important. Even when it's not part of your like overall thematic of your aura, it's very important to know that you are not only this and only that, as you mentioned before, Crystal, that all the manifesting generators are like this. All the projectors are like this. No, that's the homogenization trap. And human design is a science of differentiation. So of course, when I'm trying to put myself in a fixed thing, I get frustrated. But however, when I'm being more flexible and like decide a range of it, like, I don't know if you know this tool of SMART goal.
Yeah.
Right? Like be measurable, be specific, I learned another tool that it's complementary, it's AIM SMART. So the aim is AIM.
Okay.
AIM defines a range of that specific goal. So it's like the average, the ideal, and the minimum acceptable. So that tool helped me a lot in order to be more flexible. Even when I have a goal in mind and I have a north, and I can create a strategy, I have a strategic mind in my design. However, I'm flexible if I'm not getting or I'm exceeding expectations. But of course, in corporate, I've learned that I have always to exceed expectations in order to get a promotion, a salary raise, or actually to have a good reputation as a life five. I'm not, and a good image, So for your personal branding, so. Learning to be flexible is something that releases a lot the frustration piece.
Yeah, I can imagine. And looking at all the different pieces of your design, your Incarnation Cross, your very defined heart, it makes it, I mean, what you do, the Sublime, I guess, Success Studio now is what it's evolving into. It makes so much sense that this is part of your path. This is what you're doing. This is where you're building your community. You're using your skills to serve that community and, using that defined heart, that willpower to push other people into new heights. And, you also mentioned when we were talking about the Gate 51 and the channel of initiation, people that I've encountered, my husband has this as well, that have this channel. It's not like this. I mean, for the most part, obviously I can't judge everyone, but out of the people that I've encountered, it's not this harsh competitiveness. It's this playful competitiveness. It's this competitiveness that uplifts other people around them too, to like shock them into new heights, shock them into, I always say, like places that they've never been before. And I can say that's absolutely true with the support. I know it's not like necessarily a tribal channel, but there is still so much about that because you're empowering yourself. Therefore, you're doing your thing and, you're empowering the other people, your clients in that process, right? And helping them find themselves, find or achieve what it is that matters to them. And so in the work that you do, what would you say is the biggest challenge that your clients face around achieving the success that they desire?
This is very interesting because what I've seen the most is self-doubt and the fear of uncertainty. Like when they are trying new things or getting a new role or having a new boss or joining a new company or launching a new business or having a new idea for entrepreneurship or so. It's like it's the unknown, you know? And the unknown, nobody taught us how to deal with, how to navigate the unknown. And some of us are designed to deal with that. Actually, if I have an open agenda, so uncertainty for sure.
Yeah.
Something that I strive in. So learning to deal with uncertainty, that not something that has to be fixed, has to be sure, you have to be certain about, and you don't have to be to get mentally defensive, which I was, for example, in some part of my life. And for sure, I have not noticed so far, like recently, but I'm not deconditioned. For sure, I'm not perfect. I'm human still. So self-doubt and fear of uncertainty, those are two major things that my clients and most of the person, including myself, sometimes we deal with. Sometimes even when we are talented, when others recognize our talents, it's not easy for us in order to integrate them, to accept that we are that as well, and that we are not perfect, but meaning that we are not perfect, that doesn't mean that we cannot contribute or have any value to a community, or we cannot make a contribution for others, or we have something that others are looking for, because we're unique. So if we are unique, we have something that you don't have, and probably it's something that you're looking for. And also the fear of rejection, you know, it's something that it's like very big out there. So learning to deal with rejection, for me, rejection, it's a gift. And it sounds like toxic positivity, but it's not, it's true. Because, for example, as a coach, let's say that I'm 100% full-time entrepreneur. Okay, I call myself soulpreneur because I do what I love with a sense of purpose. So if I get 1,000 alliance invitations, how can I deal with them? Because I'm a solopreneur, you know? I'm by my side so far. I can grow my company for sure. There are so many ways. But right now, if I get 1,000 invitations for next week, I cannot deal with them. So rejection is a gift, because probably from them, I will make some filters in order to know if it's the right timing for them. I'm covering what they need and what they want, and they are seeing the value on investing on it. So actually, rejection is not a bad thing. It's something that it serves me, because otherwise my reputation will be ruined. I cannot fulfill their needs. So actually, rejection could be a gift. And in uncertainty, when nothing's certain, everything can happen. So if you flip the coin, of course, I have the gate 26 twice. So I can frame the way we see stuff. So uncertainty can be a gift as well, and self-doubt as well, because you can confirm through data, through the, for example, feedback. What do you see in myself that it's worthy? Like using your network, using people you love, their perspective, not them, their perspectives, and how they see you and your experiences, what you've built, what you've done, how you overcome challenges. That's something that when self-doubt is coming, it's not that it's bad. It's just like probably a signpost that you need to reconfirm where those, or remember or reframe your story, or remember the things that you've done and why you're here. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And that's very, I mean, reframing those things, those challenges is very, very important. And like what you were saying about fear of rejection and, what if all these things came at you, relationships, invitations? It's like, would you really be able to handle that? And I think about that all the time. I used to struggle a lot putting myself out there on social media. Like, what if someone doesn't like this, or like XYZ, I don't want to say it wrong. But yeah, like, I mean, we don't have the energetic capacity to serve every single person. It's physically impossible, and that's okay. And I've come to terms with that. So I think I love that you brought that up. And how do you use human design in your business, like as a coach or as a success strategist, in moving through these challenges that you were talking about?
Actually, I see human design as an accelerator for the coaching process. Because sometimes there's people, one of the filters I have in my programs is that people that at least know a little of themselves. They've gone through therapy or they've gone to any other tool, even when it's not with a psychologist, a tool of self-discovery. So they don't know, they don't come blank, because I want to like recruit people that they feel good, but they want to get great. So it's like, but this doesn't mean that they don't have fear, that they are not angry at all, because we are human. Even when we are great, we can feel fear, and it's natural. And actually, I learned from the Human Design Academy with this post that you made, very beautiful, with a range of like fear and awareness. I was like, wow, I use that a lot in my coaching practice because of you, because I've learned from you, like how you see the fear. It's a gift, but it's the seed of awareness. It's not the fruit of awareness. So if you deny the seed, if you neglect your fear, you're neglecting your humanness, my friend.
Yes.
So if you accept your fear, then embrace it and understand it and ask for it. Fear is like a guardian of your castle. So it's trying to protect you as well as anger. It's like a conflict. I want to fight with you. So both are the guardians. So if you listen to the guardians, for example, in terms of fear, what they are like, what you're trying to protect me. It's something, and it's a protection mechanism to survive. So is this survival fear? Will I die if I do this? So I have to listen to my fear and don't do that stuff? Or is this something related to some interpretation I've made because of this situation in the past, or something that someone told me or I seen in someone else, that it's making me feel fear? So it's more like inner hearing to what it trying to tell you, because it's trying to tell you, because it's part of our inner truth. But for example, what I've seen in my coaching practice is not everyone is very agile in terms of dealing with their emotions, because sometimes if you don't have a defined emotional center, you take in emotions of others. So sometimes it's overwhelming. It's like confusing. And it's like that tool, for example, doesn't work for everyone. So human design helps me see how the person is designed to make decisions they can trust and rely to themselves, to their consistent functions, strengths, and traits, in order to accelerate the process. So we don't try make trial and error. Like, okay, let's try with intuition. Let's try with logic. Let's try with emotions. It's like if you're splenic, okay, you're intuitive, or probably you're instinctual, or probably you're very judgmental, but not judgmental in a bad way, because judgment, some people, is designed to judge. So why are you judging? Why are you judging this? Why are you seeing that others are not seeing? Because it's a part of a stream of taste, and it has to do with eyes, with seeing things differently. So it's like, if you get to know the person by their design, however, the birth time needs to be exact in order not to miss anything. So I'm very strict with that. It's super important for me. It's super important to see their design, even when I'm not telling them that I'm guiding them through human design. Of course, I ask for permission that, are you willing to share your birth data? Of course, because I'm incorporating human design into your coaching practice. And most of the people say yes. So more and more people are open to these new tools that are not very scientifically proven, but are like, through observation, they're proven because people feel better. So it's like, okay, if you feel better, then it helps, it works.
For sure.
So that's how I use human design.
And so I guess like what I hear from you is, it accelerates that process in, like, I would like summarize it into two main ways. Like, number one, you're giving them the tools to discern what paths or what decisions to make, right? Helping them not sit around in that uncertainty, be overwhelmed by like, okay, well, should I do this? Should I do this? Do I need to listen to this person or like do that? No, because like when you start working with your authority, you become more confident in your own decisions. And there's no, I'm sure both of us have experienced this where we're not spending so much time doubting ourselves in that way. I mean, obviously there's still that self-doubt, but you're able to make a decision and kind of move on from that and know that no matter what happens, it'll be okay, right? We'll be fine.
And once you mention that, actually, it's not falling into the self-doubt trap because we fall there, but we don't stay there.
Exactly.
It's the difference. Right? The time you are there. If you can shorten the time in doubting yourself, having fear of uncertainty, it's not that you don't feel it, but if you learn to deal with it, to navigate it, it's easier like to feel successful, feel satisfied, feel at peace. So like living yourself as yourself, the signature of your spirit.
Yeah, absolutely. And like also knowing their chart for you as a coach, it's like you're better able to provide different solutions based on what is more likely to work for them. I think that's the most important thing. I remember working with, or not even just like working with business coaches, but just like taking in a lot of marketing information from generators that would basically be very authoritative in how they describe, like, this is what you need to do. This is what works. If you don't do this, then like, and that just led me to the wrong path. But had they known my energy and how I function, then maybe they would have known to, or, not been so authoritative in that aspect, or, known that something else might have worked better for me. Right. So I love that you're able to, give your clients that customized, personalized guidance in that way. So
it's very, and let me tell you something that comes up in my mind when you said so. This authoritative way of market yourself, like things need to be like this. If you want to market yourself, this is the strategy, this is the formula, that's homogenization. So it probably works for people, even for them, in order to get some clients, and their clients can be successful because of that. But does that feels like you? It's the big question. Are you getting satisfaction from that, generators? Are you feeling successful, projectors? Do you feel at peace, manifestors? Or are you being surprised, reflectors? That's the question. It's like, if not, probably make some tweaks, because that's the trap of homogenization. So your inner truth is telling you, this is not the way, this is not the way, there is a way, and it can only be your way. Yes. Right? So it's like, for example, for me, that's where I struggle in marketing. When I share things that work for me, I don't want to condition them. So that's where I struggle. I don't want to share because it's like, no, this is a fixed idea. I'm on a fourth line, right? So it's fixed. So it's like, this is very fixed. So I don't want to be fixed. I prefer to get to know you so we can find the solution together that fits you, that you can make it sustainable for yourself. Because probably at the end of the coaching session, you will fall in the same trap, you will struggle with the same problem, and come to me and say, like, your program doesn't work. No, I will bring you a solution that is for you, that you can carry, even when I'm not in agreement with that. I don't have to be in agreement. I'm only a facilitator,
Yeah.
I'm not an authority. I'm not a line one. I'm not designed for that. Sorry. Even when I can feel empathy, this is for you. Okay. So I'm not a line one as well. I have to be natural in my practice. I have to share my skills, bargaining them, feeling part of a community, being close to you as a line four. And of course, doing something that fulfills your need, not my need.
Absolutely.
My need is to do what I love and get some money to pay my rent, and not my rent, but my lifestyle,
Yeah, of course.
That's my need.
Exactly. And like for anyone that, maybe needs help in this area of their life, either wants to feel more successful or needs help in moving towards their goals, into transitions and change. Is there anything that you're offering right now? Are you offering coaching services that you want to share?
Yeah, actually, I have two specific programs that like get to a specific goal. The first one is Soulpreneur. So it's for people that have financial stability and they want to keep that. But they have energy available, they work for someone or they work for someone else and they want to build a side hustle. So if they want to build a side hustle that fulfills a purpose, that they're willing to put their talents in the table to receive a retribution from a community in order to leave a legacy, this program is for you. So it's called Soulpreneur. It's from having a transactional career to a fulfilling and purposeful career. Okay. The second one is Standout. So this is for people that it's getting through a level of uncertainty in terms of, I don't know what success means for me. So this program helps you tap into your talents, get to know you better deeply. Human design is a major pillar of it. In order to define your own differentiated and unique definition of success and set the primary steps to get there. Okay, so we will do a strategy in order to get there and a timeline, and so I'm not like a not a timeline specifically, but like a route, like a route.
Yeah.
And it could have dates.
Roadmap. Is that another word?
A roadmap. It's perfect. Yes. Thank you very much. And another one, it's like more ad hoc programs, which are for like, I also generate alliances with leaders. I have seen with my data, mostly human, more than 90% of my clients are women, okay? To create strategies that build their career satisfaction and growth. So if you are changing company and changing a job, or if you are a new manager, you have recently had a promotion, you are you switch the boss and you want to get like a first good impression, you're negotiating a job offer, you are negotiating your salary, whatever transition you're going through that you want to ally with a coach that can help you strive there, I'm your guy. So those three pieces are mostly the things that I offer right now. Crystal, thanks for sharing. And thanks for giving me to share that with your audience.
Of course. And I'm going to leave all of Alex's information in the description. So if you want to connect with him, be part of his community, it's going to be all there for you. And yeah, I'm assuming, of course, you have clients from like all over the world. You do your services also in Espanol, right?
Or in English. I have services in both languages, and I've served people from 4 of the 5 continents of the 5 continents in the world. So if you are from Australia, I'm looking for a client over there.
There we go.
That is the only piece in the world that I've not served any clients so far.
Amazing. Amazing. And yeah, I guess to wrap up our chat for today, I always like to ask, what is your favorite quote or mantra maybe that you live by, or even mantra at this point in your life that you want to share with us?
My favorite quote and a mantra that I live by, it's be 100% yourself, so you let others be themselves too.
Received. It's so true. And it needed that reminder. I think we all do sometimes, right?
It's very difficult, but it's something that brings back to us. So yeah.
Yay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Alex. I really appreciate your energy and your passion today. Oh, I love chatting with you, and I love like just getting the excitement, getting to feel the passion and excitement that you have for human design, for what you do, for just life in general. And yeah, so thank you so much for sharing and being vulnerable with us today.
No, thank you very much, Crystal, for the space, for the energy, for the questions, and for the exchange of experiences as well. And thank you for being for letting me be part of your community as well. And if you're struggling with like learning human design, you find it very complex, Crystal is your person because she makes so much. Human design is very complex. She simplifies that complexity so you can understand everything, and very, very in a very simple way. So
thank you so much for the recognition, Alex.